Hello again, everyone. I am back with Steve Carson. He has a little more knowledge to bestow upon us all. Take it away, Steve.
Okay, everybody out there. Now, I know hopefully you've already been out to sample the fishing in your local waters, in close, lower price, but smaller fish. And you keep hearing people all around talking about tuna. Tuna this, tuna that, maybe it's bluefin tuna, maybe it's yellowfin tuna. And I'm not sure the last person that made up a story about how big a tuna they caught was even true, because some of the stories are pretty incredible. But the truth is, we have had the best fishing for tuna the last 5 years. Right now, if you're watching this, it's 2022. What month is this? It's February of 2022. The last 5 years have been the best ocean fishing in California history.
Wow.
I mean, going back 100 years.
That's amazing.
These right now are the good old days. So if you're sitting on the couch, you're not catching the best fish of your life. So if you want to get out and fish for tuna, you do need a little bit more than just the basics. I mean, that's the reality of it is. We wish we could get off with something. I hear all the time, I need a good cheap tuna outfit. Won't be happening. No such thing. But also, you need a number of different rods and reel setups, depending on how big the tuna are. So how do you know which one to get first? Well, the first one that you get is what we call the 40-pound rig. It's a little bit heavier when the tuna are small, and it's a little bit light when the tuna are big, but there's a reason that they call average. There's a reason they call it that, because basically for tuna from around 30 pounds to around 100 pounds, which is a pretty big swath of size, whether they be bluefin tuna, whether they be yellowfin tuna. Some of you may remember encounters with big eye tuna. Any of the species, your 40-pound rig is going to be what you start with. This is a Penn Fathom FTH 25 NLD2. That's a mouthful. It's a 25 narrow 2-speed model. That's all you really need to know. And then you fill that up about 3/4 of the way with 65-pound braid. It'll hold around 350 yards of that or so. Then on top of that, you put around 25 to 50 yards of 40-pound chest monofilament. And that will do a very, very wide variety of things for you. That's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of rod and reel combos. I happen to have this on an 8-foot rod. I don't know if you can see the whole thing there. I have it on an 8-foot rod that's rated for 25 to 50-pound chest. You do it with a 7-foot rod if you want to, or a 7.5, whatever's comfortable for you. Always try to fish the middle of your rod's line rating. So if you have a rod like this that's rated for 25 to 50-pound chest, throw out the low end, throw out the high end, fish the middle, and in this case, that's 40. And that's how you get the best performance out of your rig. And this will fish both live bait and small lures. Again, for tuna, when the tuna are only 15 pounds, it's a bit much. And when the tuna are 300 pounds, it's nowhere near enough. But again, for that happy middle, that happy medium, if you have no tuna gear at all, this is what you start with. And so don't leave the dock without it when you're talking about something like this. Okay, now we're going to take a step up, because the size of the fish the last few years, the size of the tuna, keeps getting bigger.
That's good.
Right when we think, I mean, literally since 2016, every single year since 2016, the state record for bluefin tuna has gone up by 25 pounds. And now it's over 400 pounds. Literally right out here in California waters, not Hawaii, not Cabo San Lucas, literally the backside of Catalina or out near San Clemente Island, giant tuna are just swimming around waiting to be caught. So now the captain or your relative or your significant other has said, we're going fishing and we're going to catch 100-pound tuna. And you're thinking, uh-oh, what do I do now? Well, now you're up to what we call our 60-pound rig. That's a Penn Fathom 40 narrow reel. Okay, and it's a 2-speed button there. Trust me on this, do not buy a single-speed reel for this work. Get a 2-speed. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, because sure enough, there'll be some big, steroid-ridden weightlifter that'll say, you don't need a 2-speed. Yes, you do. So make sure you get that. And you fill that up with about 450 to 500 yards of 80-pound chest braid. And then on top of that, you can't really see it, but you have to take my word for it. There's about 25 to 50 yards of 60-pound test monofilament. That's the way it's rigged up. I have it on a 7 to 7.5 foot rod. Excuse me, 7 to 7.5 foot rod. This rod is rated for 40 to 100-pound test, and again, so 60-pound is right in the middle there. You can do it with a little bit shorter rod. Don't try to do it with a rod shorter than 7 feet, because as you're trying to go around the corner of the boat, as you fight a big fish or get around your friend who's in your way, a short rod makes it a little bit harder. And you may use a heavy jig like we've got here. That happens to be I think that's a 280 gram jig. I'm not very good at the metric system, but I think 280 grams is about 9 ounces.
Nice.
Don't hold me to it. I stopped trying to do the conversion years ago, and this will let you drop the jig down, down to at least 300 feet or more, whatever depth the fish may be at. And again, when you hook 100, little camera issue there. We got it straight now. 100, 125, 150, even 175-pound tuna, and yes, those are absolutely realistic goals to catch out here the last couple of years. This is the rig that you want to use. Now, you've caught a couple of 150-pounders, you want more. Okay.